Hey, sorry for the interruption, but we wanted to let you know that this week's episode is brought to you by Spotify for Podcasters. Really cool app. Josiah and I use it for every single show that we bring to you every week. You can edit podcasts right from your phone or computer, so you can start creating as soon as you log into the platform. You can easily distribute your podcasts to Spotify and everywhere else the podcasts are heard, just like we do every single week. You can also create video podcasts on Spotify, which is really cool. And of course, you can earn money like I'm doing right now by including ads and even podcast subscriptions. And best of all, it's totally free. There's no catch. We really love it. We use it every single week. So we encourage you to go download the Spotify for Podcasters app or go to www.spotify.com/podcasters to get started. All right, let's get back to the show.
Radical! Welcome to this week's episode of the Print on Demand Cast. Each week, join the gnarly Travis and Josiah as they provide insight into the print on demand industry and equip you with the totally tubular tools, advice, and strategies you need to achieve success and hopefully have a few laughs along the way. Now on to this week's Totally Tubular show.
Welcome to another episode of the Print on Demand Cast. This episode number 68 of the Print on Demand Cast. And as always, same two hosts for all 68 episodes. If you keep tuning in hoping to find a new host or two, then you are mistaken, my friend. It will not happen. Travis, how's it going, man? We have a guest, so it's not necessarily a point of interest, but we could probably banter a little bit because, as we have both alluded to in conversations offline, this has been a day.
Whew. It was a day. My goodness. We're actually recording this on December 7th, Pearl Harbor Day.
Yes.
And there was actually, what was it called? Oh my gosh, it was so funny. Basically, Amazon had a little bit of a hiccup today, and it affected not only sellers, but also like people trying to actually sell or buy things. And so really kind of a real bummer, honestly, because all day long, I've just been waiting for them to fix it. And like no orders came in like all day long. And you're like, I know I'm selling things. And I know that people, I know people were buying. And in the past, what's happened is like the Seller Central thing will like, have a glitch or something. And eventually it'll get fixed. And then all of the orders that came in during that glitch will just kind of like go, all into your account. This time, however, because of the fact that it was on both sides, I have a feeling that we as Amazon sellers lost sales today because I think people were not able, there was like a lot of dog pages. If you don't know what that is, it's when an Amazon product isn't linking anywhere. You have like an ASIN, which is their product identifier, and it doesn't lead anywhere. You get like what we call as Amazon sellers a dog page, and it's just literally a picture of a dog, and it says, "Well, you don't know what you're looking for because you're dumb.
Yeah, you're lost.
You're lost. Find something else." But a lot of things were showing up as dog pages and things like that, and so I have to think that we lost sales today, which, most days of the year wouldn't be that big of a deal, but in the middle of Q4, that's like a knife, man. That's like a knife to the heart. Yeah. It really hurts. Yep. Now I have, full disclosure, I have seen a lot of sales go to pending and then come in. So, I'm still having a decent day, but it's, in my opinion,
not
nowhere near
it could have been
what it could have been. So, I was a little bummed. And then a couple other things happened that I won't go into, but so that was my day. I was kind of joking with you earlier that I needed a beer before we pressed record. So how was your day? I think you had you had a similarly disappointing day. How was it for you?
Yeah. So Jason was out the whole day. He had some stuff he had to do in Denver today. So he was out. So I was kind of manning the production ship. So the first part of the day was fine. And then, except for the fact that, so we have a new UPS driver who I hope is only there temporarily, because hopefully our regular guy, Kevin, who is a champ. I love that guy so much. But We have some replacement who I don't even know his name, and I wouldn't name his name if I did know his name. I'm not going to dox the guy, but he looks like a 20-something-year-old dude who wears these sunglasses that could easily be mistaken for ski goggles. You know, those really ridiculously obnoxious, polarized, whatever. So some context. The first time he showed up to drop stuff off, he dropped it off in front of the front door of the shop, which is fine, except for the fact that we're on the last bay, and we have a giant garage door and a sign that says UPS deliveries here. So he drops them off at the front door. So we have to, lift all the boxes and take them in or get a dolly, whatever. So I told him the next time, dude, please don't drop off anything here. It's all at that third garage door. Everything that you need, drop off there. It'd be easier for everybody.
Oh, honest mistake. He did, first time he comes, he dropped it off at the front door. Sure.
So he's like, over there. I'm like, yes. And he does sound like Keanu. So he's like, you go, okay, all right, cool. So yeah, whatever. It's good to go. So today, I get a text from one of our production workers. Hey man, I felt like crap all night and all morning. I'm going to get a COVID. Should I go get a COVID test? I don't think I can come in. He was set to come in at 3:00 today and work the evening because we have a lot. Well, to preface this as well, last night we ran out of ink just completely. Like it didn't show up when it was supposed to. And so just the windows didn't line up. So we didn't have we couldn't do production last night. It was down. So we didn't get anything done last night. He texted me, I don't feel good. I'm feeling like crap. What do I do? Blah, blah, blah. So I'm trying to navigate this. And my mother-in-law calls me and says, hey, we have printer ink that was dropped off at our house, even though it's set, the address is the shop. So I have to go get that. So I open the garage door and I literally run into this UPS guy. And he says, is that all you have for me today? And it was like the UPS, pickup. And I was like, yeah, we should have more later, but take that now. Okay. So I'm like, are we good? And he's like, yeah, we're good. So I get in the car. I go to my in-laws' house, which is like 2 minutes away, get the stuff, come back and find a stack of TSC boxes at the front door, which means that this guy had a full conversation with me at the garage door that I told him 2 weeks ago to drop everything off for us at. He got into his truck and he drove not even a minute, not even 30 seconds, and dropped
to the other side
off
of the building
at the front door. So I get back from getting the ink. I'm trying to navigate this employee situation. I pull into the shop area again. I see just a giant stack of boxes by the front door. I proceed to lose my mind because I'm just so annoyed. So, long story short, we have to get all this stuff out, Amazon stuff, Etsy, Aunt Madelyn's stuff that had to go out today. And there was still that stack of stuff that didn't get done last night, but the guy is sick now. He can't come in. Our other regular production guy requested this day off months ago because it's his birthday. And of course you can't foresee this stuff happening. So that means tomorrow I am going to be at the shop at 6:30 in the morning, and we have to get a very early start because we've got more. Now it's just, the thing is we get that tomorrow, but it doesn't stop. Right. So it's going to be a super early day for me tomorrow. And I had to do the post office run today. I had car issues and just ridiculous stuff. So this Tuesday was a Monday. Monday didn't feel like a Monday, but today felt like a Monday. So
yeah,
it's been crazy. And I guess it's just, kind of par for the course for Q4. Because everything, a person calling out sick in February is like, hey man, that's a bummer. We'll see you tomorrow. But now it's like, all right, so do you think you could push through the fever, or should you just stay home? So, but ultimately it's like, hey, get a COVID test, because if this cat tests positive for COVID, that means he's out for 10 days. And we have to scramble for 10 days, which happens to fall within that week that we've talked about previously on the show. That is the craziest week.
It is.
So to be down a production tech, those 10 days would be brutal. So I'm praying to God that his test is negative, that he just needs a day to kind of rest and recoup, and he can be back at it. But I'm sure you guys will you'll hear the result of that story on next week's show for sure.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, we're in the time. It's such a crunch time, and you just never can plan for it. I mean, like we've had just an incredible group of, temps that have come in and helped out. And as a matter of fact, I mean, we had a great week last week, but we got done and I sent people home early on Friday, which blew my mind. That just should not happen in my mind. That was never going to happen, but we did such, they were so efficient and everybody kept working and we were able to get everything. Now it's a different story this week because, the volume is up, notwithstanding the fact that Amazon was down for half of the day today. And I don't know what tomorrow's going to bring. But yeah, I mean, we're coming, like next week is going to be just insane and you just never know what's going to happen. So that's kind of our Q4 rant. If that's a thing, we have apparel rants, but
Q4 rant.
Yeah.
I think so.
You're always going to have those. I mean, that's just, you think you know what you're getting into and you just never know. But let's lighten the mood, Josiah.
Yeah. Well, before we do that, I'll let you know too, on our Anchor, like we use anchor.fm for those listening to upload and kind of distribute this. But have you seen the banner on anchor.fm?
I have not.
It says a major Amazon Web Services outage is currently impacting our services. Please know that our team is monitoring the situation and working to get the services back online as soon as possible. So
ding, 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 ding.
It's
everywhere.
Widespread. It's everywhere. And so places that are using them to host their web services are also going to have some issues. So if you're a shopper on Amazon, now you know. And if you fill Amazon, now you know. So is what it is. But yes, let's lighten the mood a little bit and go to this week's weekly dad joke.
Time for the weekly dad joke.
So Travis, I'm sure that you've noticed, as well as probably everyone listening, that prices are just skyrocketing everywhere. Everything's more expensive now. In fact, air used to be free at the gas station. I had to go fill up my tire the other day. It used to be free. Now it's $1.50. You want to know why?
Why? Tell me.
Inflation. And that's this week's weekly dad joke. It's topical.
Timely.
It is timely. I'm spending a lot more for a lot less when it comes to groceries every week. I can tell you that for sure. So tis the season. Yeah. So, man, this week we had a point of interest, and we actually allude to that point of interest in the interview that's coming up here shortly. But this was a cool guest for me to have on the show because it is my wife. And so my wife, Madelyn, finally agreed to be on the show. It was interesting asking her questions that I knew the answers to. And also I eventually just kind of scooted out of the shot here because you guys see my ugly bearded mug every week and you don't get to see her beautiful face ever. So I just kind of let that go. But man, Travis, I think it was a successful interview. I'm actually really proud of her because she doesn't necessarily like to do these types of things, like speaking in general. She's very kind of soft spoken and so I was really proud that she agreed to come on, and I think she did a great job.
Yeah, I think she did a great job, and I mean I don't want to spoil the interview at all. We'll probably talk about it in the outro, but I thought she did a great job. Really enjoyed what she shared, and I think our listeners are going to get a lot out of it. Yeah.
So without further ado, let's go to this week's main event.
You're now listening to the soothing beats of the main event.
All right, Travis, it's time for the main event, and we have an interview again. It's been like 5, 6, too many episodes without a guest. Our listeners have had to endure our incoherent, at times, ramblings. But we have an interview. We have a guest, and it is someone that I would have to say, I might be the bias, is the hottest guest we've had on the show. But Madelyn Sifuentes is she's my wife. She's not my sister. We have the same last name. So she's my wife. She's been doing print on demand since 2019 and has experienced success on Etsy, Abound, and Fair. And she also helps with sales at What For Apparel as well. So everybody, please welcome to the Print on Demand cast, my beautiful wife, Madelyn. Madelyn, say hi. And
Hello.
it's been like pulling teeth to try and convince you to do
right.
this.
Yeah, they forced me against my will. So.
She's under duress. So anyone that's watching this, send help. There's probably a smoke signal or two. But no, thanks for finally coming on the show.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I know. I'm super glad that you're here. I mean, I've been telling Josiah, he needs to get you on the show for probably over a year now. And eventually we're actually going to get your dad on here too one of these days. So,
I was just going to say, Travis has had this concerted effort to get like your family on this show.
Have you asked him?
Yeah, and it's
he's like me.
It's usually like maybe next time, because he just watch sailing videos on the couch.
Yeah.
Well, the reason that I have an interest in getting you and your dad on is because you guys have a lot of insight into print on demand and stuff that I think our listeners will enjoy. So very glad that you said yes, finally. And Josiah was able to twist your arm, Madelyn. Let's go ahead and just start with the question that we start with all of our print on demand cast guests, and just tell us about your print on demand story. How did you get into it? I mean, I kind of know it, but I'd love to hear it in your own words, and I'm sure our audience would love to hear it too.
Yeah, well, I got into it because my dad and Josiah, they first started, as you all know this story, but they started selling on Amazon. And then didn't you go to the convention?
Yeah, Travis and I went to Portland, which our listeners have heard that story as well. But yeah.
Yeah. And so, yeah, they all know, but they started their own print on demand company, which is pretty cool because I'm lucky. Like, I don't have to go through Printify and all these other platforms. I have it right in house. So as soon as they started that, or I think even before they got the printers, I was like already getting all my designs ready and getting my Etsy store up. So, yeah.
What started, before they even had a printer, you were getting your designs ready. I mean, you obviously had a plan. What kind of inspired you to do this? Did you just kind of have a feeling that it would work, or had you seen other people be successful with it, or what was the catalyst there?
Well, I think around that time I went to cosmetology school, got my license, and I interviewed at 3 different salons and got every single job. And then I told everyone I know, because I realized I did not want to be a hairstylist. And then it was kind of around that time I was like, crap, I paid a lot of money for this school. So if I'm not going to be a hairstylist, I got to make something else work. So, yeah.
And so obviously you'd heard Josiah and Jason talk about print on demand, and you just said, well, I'll just give this a try and kind of see what happens. Was that kind of it? Yeah.
And I grew up with, there's a lot of entrepreneurs in my family, and, you're distracting me.
I'm sorry. I'm just I told her to look at the camera when answering questions. So it doesn't,
throwing
so they
me
can see your eyes.
But I always witnessed my parents, they were always their own boss and able to set their own schedule. And that's initially why I wanted to be a hairstylist, because I wanted to work from home, because I saw my mom do that, have that flexibility and freedom. And so when I saw that I could do this instead, that's always been my goal, is just to be able to have freedom, set my own schedule, eventually be able to raise kids and work from home. So that's always been my main motivation.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So you got started, as Josiah said in the intro, you were on Etsy. That's how you got your start. And then you also are on Abound and Fair. Can you tell our listeners, what first of all, is there any other platform you're selling on that we didn't mention? And then what is Abound and Fair? I think most of them know what Etsy is, and we're going to get into that a lot more.
Yeah, I just recently discovered Abound and Fair several months ago, and I'm so happy that I did because I make more, or if not the same amount of sales that I do on Etsy on Abound and Fair.
Wow.
And they're kind of newer websites, but they're wholesale websites. So it's basically people that are coming to these websites already have boutiques and stores. And so they're ordering like big bulk orders. And it's nice because usually like we experience on Etsy, my best time is like November and December, but on Abound and Fair, it's like September, like the fall, because they're all ordering all the Christmas stuff, to stock their shops. So that has been really awesome. And I also sell on Tundra, which is another one, and I do decent, but not as good as I do on Abound and Fair.
Which so Abound and Fair, they're two different. It's not Abound and Fair. It's Abound, and then the other website is Fair. Which can you tell us anything about it? Like, which do you prefer? Is there a better, like, does one have a better interface or any of that stuff? I'm just curious.
Yeah, I think Fair does a little bit better than Abound, but honestly, they're both still really good. You do need to offer like wholesale pricing, so your prices are going to be lower than what you do on Etsy. Fair, they take like I think it's 25% for the first order, but if the shop reorders, it goes to 15%, and Abound is 15%, and Etsy like comes out to be like 12%, so it's kind of similar. But you're getting those big bulk orders, so it makes it worth it. Yeah.
How do they handle shipping? Is that kind of just included in your wholesale price? It's like, hey, they're going to be $10 a piece. You can order as many as you want. Is it plus shipping for those wholesale orders, or is it that included in the price?
You actually will enter the tracking number, and then you enter how much it costs you to ship. And they'll reimburse you as long as the shipping cost is like less than 25% of what the order amount was. If that makes sense. So they reimburse that.
So you're not going to get killed on shipping charges. I guess that was really my question there.
Yeah, no, it's been pretty good.
That's cool. When did you start like selling on those websites? Is that just this year, or is there?
Yeah, just this year.
Yeah, within the last year.
Yeah, like probably this summer I found them. So yeah, they've been awesome.
Is it something I've asked you this before, but is it something that like if someone out there is listening and they have like a Printful or that kind of account, is that something that they could have Printful? They'd have to place the order to Printful themselves.
Yeah.
For like a bulk order. So even if you're not doing production in-house, is there a way that you can fulfill those orders easily, do you think?
I think one of our clients tried to get on there, and she said that someone else would be fulfilling her products, and so she didn't get approved. And since ours are in-house, when I applied, I said it's in-house. So I think you just need to say that it's in-house.
Right.
To get approved.
Sure. Just, that would make
sense.
That
you're not outsourcing it. Yeah. So technically no, but I work my way around.
well, that's a good segue. Yeah, exactly. I was just that's a good segue as far as working around things. Of course, Travis knows this. I know this, but you've had experience getting an account suspended on Etsy.
Yes.
And so tell us, like, what were you able to do? Well, first tell us, like, why, what caused it, and then how you were able to get back onto Etsy to continue selling.
Yeah. So I started selling on Etsy like November, December of 2019, which was really a good time because 2020 was like crazy good sales because everyone was online shopping and quarantine. And I had no idea what I was doing. I was just doing whatever I saw other people doing. Like, I was just selling the things that I liked. And I mean, I still had success, but then I just started seeing like, oh, these are like copying bestsellers. Like, oh, this is a bestseller, I'm gonna make something similar. So I had no idea what I was doing and no strategy. And I started selling like Friends things and like TV show things, which so many Etsy sellers do. Like, and that's why I thought it was fine, because I didn't read Etsy's policies or anything. I had no idea what I was doing. So yeah, but I was very successful selling all those items. But yeah, then that led to my account getting shut down. So
wow.
Yeah, and it got shut down in
It was November.
Like
it was a year
November
ago.
of 2020.
November, right
before
Q4.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like right in the middle of it. I remember I had a memory pop up, because what we did, like, we had to create we took the opportunity to kind of revamp the system, created spreadsheets for all of her designs. And so there was lots of data entry happening. And I have a memory of sitting in the office in your parents' garage. My office was there. And I was in the process of marathoning all the Avengers Marvel movies. So I would just like put a movie on and then just data entry all of the spreadsheets and stuff like that as we were going. That's the only reason I remember it was in November.
Yeah, luckily I had like 2 months before downloaded my CSV file, which you should always do that to have that backup.
Yeah.
But
that's a good pro tip right there. Can you say that again? So what are you saying? You're saying like there's a place on Etsy you can go to download a CSV, and what does that give you? Just your SKUs and your titles, and does it give you all your tags and everything, or what does it give you?
I don't think it gives the tags, but it gives you the images, the titles, the descriptions. So I was able to go off of that CSV to rebuild my new shop. But it was tragic. I took a couple days to just cry. It was like so many hours went into it, and it was like my child. And so I took a couple days just to like wallow in my sorrow, and then I just had to start all over. But I mean, I'm grateful. Like, I'm basically everything I did wrong, I've learned from. And so now I'm doing it so much better, and I'm so much more set up for success. So
yeah, I remember, I don't know if it was around that time, but you had reached out to me just to talk about like spreadsheets and like, you know, kind of creating all of that stuff and like organizing your data. And I mean, we've done shows on that in the past. I can't remember. I think it's episode 10 that we did one where we just talk about making sure that that's all organized. And it's really a good thing that you downloaded that CSV file before anything happened to that account, because that at least, even if you had to, you know, take out 50% of what you were selling, still you had that other 50% ready to go, you know, when you could get back up and running. So tell us like how you were able to kind of get back up and running on Etsy. What was that process like for you guys?
A nightmare. Oh God. Yeah, it is. I don't even know. It's a process. So in order, if you get your Etsy account shut down for like trademark purposes, we did hire a lawyer, and even that didn't get our account reinstated.
Because what we tried to do initially, right, was because Etsy lets you know who filed what claim. So we tried to file an appeal with those people that claimed that. And to be honest, I mean, you can speak more to this too, but some of the claims were like, I can clearly see what that infringement is. But then some of them you could tell were kind of the people that just squat on trademarks and like world's best mom or, best baby, something like that. Like,
I had one, someone reported me for a design that said ain't no hood like motherhood. I was like, what? But the other ones were like Friends and Schitt's Creek stuff. So,
Okay.
So we tried to send separate letters out to each entity that held the trademarks.
Which I don't waste your time with that. I don't think I think they rarely accept that, and it's just Etsy's bots. Like they don't even have real people that are responding to you. So what we had to do, we had to get a new computer. You have to enter in all new information. So when you're signing up, you need a different name, a different email address, different bank account, different social. You need a different IP address. And we discovered, like, we bought a whole new router and we had a new IP address, a new computer. We were all set to go. So I logged into my account that I had just recreated again. And it got shut down because of the MAC address. Like they know the location. I've gotten very paranoid over these little things.
Like I don't know anything about witness protection, but I have to assume that this is probably the closest thing where it's like
it's spooky.
Don't say anything. Yeah, it was really an intense process.
Yeah, and you need a new bank account. Literally everything new location, new IP address, new computer. So that was, but I did it and it's paid off.
Wow. No, I remember, I'm obviously I've known you guys for a long time, and I remember talking to, Josiah about this whole thing, and it was pretty brutal for you guys. I mean, I know it was really rough because your Etsy account was doing really, really well.
Yeah.
You want to share like numbers of what you guys were doing a month on Etsy, or just like in total, kind of maybe 2020 numbers or something like that, or 2019, I guess, before you got shut down?
I think combined between 2020 and this year, we've done about like 70,000 gross sales. I'm pretty close to what I did my first year. But my first year, I did so well, I think, because it was 2020 and the online sales, everyone was just shopping online. Yeah. And I was selling trademark things that were popular that people, everyone likes. But it's like, you might make a lot of sales for a short period of time, but it's not worth risking your account. So now I do not come anywhere close to anything trademarked or anything like that because I just don't want to risk it.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's really kind of the moral of the story. That's kind of the that you learned from your mistakes. I'm curious. So you said you got your account shut down in November of, it was 2020, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mid-November, early November. Do you remember?
It was mid, I think.
Yeah, November.
And then when did you get your new account up and running after that crazy time that you spent?
Yeah, it was like mid-December, but at that time I had to hire someone else to do all my customer service, and I had to hire someone else to list everything for me. Literally all I could do was enter the things in the spreadsheet, and then I had to have other people do it so that they could get in. They had to have a different IP address and a different location. Like I couldn't even do it at my house.
So we had to basically hire VAs, right?
Yeah.
Which, and I mean, hindsight is kind of a sweet way. We kind of stumbled upon a cool system to do an Etsy shop where you're hands off, except for providing data for the VA to upload, So
I just starting over, like I've just discovered how to do it so much better because I have, like, right now, if something were to happen, I have everything on my spreadsheet and it's all organized, like all the links, all the keywords, like I could have it up again within no time. And and now my dad can, when he's printing for me, he's like, oh, you go to this SKU number. Before I just had like titles and he could never find anything.
You're like, oh, I feel like feel like you took my advice, and
I did.
Like you might have. I mean, I just feel like a proud papa right now. I just,
yeah, it took my shop getting shut down to take your advice.
Oh my gosh, that's. I mean, it's great that you have that, ability to do it. So I am going to go ahead and plug. It is actually podcast episode 10, organizing your SKUs and designs. And you may not do it the same way that I do it or the same way that Madelyn does it. But the bottom line is get your shit together.
Yeah.
It will help you in 1,000 different ways. We were actually, I'm just going to do an aside here because Josiah and I had talked about, I had talked to him. I said, hey, I have a point of interest for today. And then we realized since we're having an interview, we didn't need a point of interest. But the point of interest was I got an email today from a supplier, from like a company that sells coffee mugs and T-shirts and all of that stuff. And they basically said, hey, we are overwhelmed. We are not going to be able to get any new orders out. We're going to focus on our current orders. And so any new orders will go way back. And so there's a huge delay. And then they said, literally, we recommend you reroute your orders to another supplier. And how could you do that unless you had a spreadsheet that you could go, okay, boom, 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 and here's the art, and here's, everything you need is right here. You couldn't possibly do that unless you had, some type of organizational structure. So, yeah, exactly, some kind of database. So anyway, that's really cool, Madelyn. That's really cool that you guys have figured out kind of. You took the pain and you actually learned something from it. So tell our listeners, like, what's your process now? Like how, because you talked about how you just threw stuff up, you'd find bestsellers and be like, oh, I'm going to make something cool like that. And that was kind of, there was no strategy to it. Tell us about like your strategy now and how you go about, creating products for sale on Etsy.
Yeah. Well, I've taken several courses, just on Etsy. And I think one of the biggest things that I've taken away it's just completely changed my entire process and strategy is E-Rank. And it's it's only $10 a month. And I just use the keyword tool on it, but basically you can search any keyword on there and it'll show you like how many people are searching this keyword a month and then how many people are selling an item and have this keyword. So you can see the demand for the product and you can see the competition. And so now I don't just create designs based on things I like. I'll have some ideas. Like I'll kind of go through Etsy and see what the best sellers are. And then so I'll have an idea and then I'll go on E-Rank and I'll search that keyword. And basically it'll show you, you go to the keyword tools, type in your keyword, and then you want the average monthly searches to be over 150. And then I make sure the Etsy competition is like in the green and as small as possible. So I'm trying to make the most in-demand designs and go where the least competition is. And so now it's like a gold mine and you can just go on all these rabbit trails because you're like, oh my gosh, this is gold. Like everyone's searching for this keyword and no one is selling it. And so I have a whole spreadsheet of all these like really high ranking keywords. And so I've learned to just go off of making data-based decisions, not just making things that I like. Like I've kind of had to learn to let go of my ego and be like, I have no idea what this trend is, but
tell them about the snail design you made.
Oh my gosh. I was showing Josiah some of the funny designs because I saw like a snail mug the other week. I was like, oh my gosh, there's like so many people searching this and there's zero competition. So I'm like, I'm gonna make a snail mug. It was really fun.
Crazy.
What it was, though. Tell them the actual with the pan.
Oh yeah, so it was like the snail, but its shell was like a stack of waffles instead.
What?
I just stay laughing at my designs. I'm like, I would have never made anything like this before. But
oh my gosh.
But
now all of a sudden every one of our listeners is going to go make a snail with a stack of waffles as their show. I mean, you just let the cat out of the bag. There's going to be like 100 millionaires that come out of this show.
Yeah.
Doesn't that kind of speak to like another thing in conjunction with E-rank would be like finding two.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that you can kind of see like once you have your spreadsheet of all the gold you've found on E-rank and all the good keywords, you can start combining the two keywords.
Oh yeah.
And you can see these two trending things. And when you combine two big trends and make like a super trend, it just makes a really in-demand product. And then you know that there's no competition. And so that has been, now when I search my products, they're like at the very top of the feed. And so it really works. Yeah. And so that has been probably like the best thing I've taken away from all my Etsy courses is just creating the most in-demand designs and go where there's no competition. Like if you want to, like before I was wanting to sell like, I don't know, like Christian t-shirts and you search that on E-rank, it's like, nope, stay away. So don't really focus on like the things you're wanting to sell. You need to focus on the data, but also there's a balance because you're not going to make good designs if you don't really understand that trend. Like there's some keywords I find and I'm like, I really don't know what that is. I wouldn't do well making a design like that. And so right now I'm kind of just testing that out. I'm starting to sell designs in niches that I never would have. And I'm just kind of testing to see which one where I get the most bites. And then maybe I'll narrow down my niche. But right now I'm just trying to do as much as possible and testing that out. So.
Well, I mean, you're going about it the right way. I mean, just being very methodical, having a plan, having a strategy. Slow and steady does win the race, to your snail with waffles idea niche. And the cool thing about it is that you don't really have any, you can sleep at night. You don't have to worry about your account getting suspended. Yeah. And a year from now, you're just going to continue to grow. You've got the systems in place. You've got the VAs in place that are, kind of doing it for you. You're just feeding them data and saying, hey, do things like this. And it's just going to continue to grow for you. So that's freaking awesome.
Yeah, I mean,
really cool.
One of the things that, because when I wasn't able to log into my Etsy at all and I had to have VAs do everything for me, I was like, why did I never do this? Because I don't really list anything on my Etsy. I handle my customer service now, but I still will just put everything in the spreadsheet for my VA and she lists everything for me. So that's super nice.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's really cool.
Yeah. So
go ahead, Josiah.
No, we're good. I think we are ready to transition to the questions that we always ask all of our guests. We have a set of magic questions here that we ask all of our guests, and it wouldn't be complete without this fancy bumper. One of the magic questions is, how is it living with someone that makes you laugh all the time?
Oh my gosh.
I always tell, like, if you ever tell me that you met someone that's funnier than me, we're going to have relationship issues.
Yeah. I honestly think that's impossible.
I think, I was just going to say the funniest thing was when we were doing the pre-recording, we were just talking about what we were going to talk about. At one point, Josiah just leaned over to Madelyn and was like, this is what it's like doing a podcast with Travis.
Yeah, this is what it's like hanging out with Travis and I. Just really dumb jokes and
dumb joke after dumb joke after dumb joke.
Because you and I, like we'll hang out sometimes once a week playing poker, or we'll just kind of whatever. So I just wanted, if she ever wonders what it's like to hang out with us, this is probably the closest thing that she'll.
Yeah.
just stupidity. So
you're welcome, Madelyn.
Yeah. Okay, so the first magic question, we've talked about a time when things kind of felt like a failure when everything got shut down. But tell those listening about a time when something happened that felt like a win.
I think just because in November, like several weeks ago, I saw a little memory pop up on my Facebook from the year prior when my account shut down. And I was just looking back. I'm like, oh my gosh, look how far I've come. Like at that point, it seemed like this is the end. Like my dream is done. Like,
wow.
I just was so sad. I felt so defeated. I felt like a failure. And now looking back a year later, I'm like, I'm doing just as good as I was. And now I have better systems and I'm just set up for success. So yeah, I just think it's cool. Like the worst failure ever has turned into a success because I learned from it. And so I'm not good with failure at all, but it has been a big lesson that, it will turn out for good as long as I didn't give up. And so, yeah.
Well, that's awesome. That's that's totally different from me because I am great at being a failure. I'm awesome at it. No, the second question, throughout your print-on-demand career, now I know you've only been selling a couple years now, but I'm just curious, and you could take this outside of the print-on-demand, maybe in the entrepreneurial, kind of arena, how important have mentoring relationships been to you? And can you point to a couple of them that have been pivotal in like your development and where you are today?
Yeah, I think as far as entrepreneurs, like I take a lot of courses and I follow certain people, like kind of like my Etsy heroes. And
who are they?
You guys interviewed her. It's Brittany from
Brittany Lewis.
Yeah. Be a Wolf Biz.
Yeah, I'll tell you. You keep going. I'll tell you what the
do her course.
Show number was.
Worth it.
Okay, her course is good. All right.
Who else?
I think. I don't know. I think my grandpa, my mom. Like, there's a lot of entrepreneurs in my family. I think I've always had that kind of will to be my own boss and be independent and have that freedom. But yeah, I think that's it.
That's cool. Brittany Lewis's episode is episode 31. Stop doing what everyone else is already doing with Brittany Lewis, which sounds very much like what you've been describing. You were doing what everybody else was doing, and what happened? Well, it got your account shut down.
Yeah. I highly recommend her course.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So if you had to start all over, like tomorrow, everything you have is gone. The contacts you have are gone.
Because you've never done this, so that's never happened to you before.
That's what I was saying. I mean, that happened to me.
I'm gonna have to reach out to the guy that chose these magic questions. But tomorrow it's like you don't have not only just your Etsy shop shut down, but you don't have the same contacts for fulfill. Like you had to start all over. You don't know anyone that you know now, including your father and I are not available for fulfillment.
No suppliers.
Yeah, in this example, you don't know any suppliers. What would be your first thing that you do? Would you go to Etsy first, or would you focus elsewhere? What would that look like?
I would definitely. I mean, now I'm learning this, but don't have all your eggs in one basket. So don't sell have your whole business on Etsy. So yeah, getting on as many other platforms as you can. Just downloading your CSV file, having an organized system, hiring out, just know your strengths and hire out to your weaknesses and just the things that take way too much of your time. I hire my VAs to do. Yeah, I would say that.
Yeah, you'd still stick in home decor and all that kind of vibe, or would you go elsewhere if you had to start over?
No, I would do a little bit of everything, kind of. But I my first year I didn't really sell many shirts, and now I'm starting to get into more shirts. But I would sell as many different products as possible.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, Madelyn, thank you for coming on the show.
You're welcome.
She is in our Facebook group. printondemandcast.com/Facebook is where you can find that group. So if you have a question, you can post it and maybe tag Madelyn or tag me, because I'll probably be able to get the information to her.
That's cool. Yeah, I just want to say, hey, we don't Print on Demand Cast. We don't have an affiliate with Brittany Lewis's course. We don't have an affiliate with Etsy Rank. We don't have an affiliate with any of this stuff. We just wanted, to give you guys as much possible benefit as as we can, and offer as much value. And I knew Madelyn had some pretty awesome experiences, particularly with Etsy Rank. That's really been really cool. So it's super cheap. If you do sell on Etsy and you are wanting to get serious, that might be something that you look into.
That'd be the other thing. My first thing I do is get E-Rank right away.
Get E-Rank. Okay. Nice. That's awesome. Madelyn, thank you so much for finally joining us. It was great to have you. And I know I think you've given people a lot of encouragement, because I know there's people that, this is such an up and down business. Josiah and I were just talking about earlier, man. This was today specifically, for whatever reason, was a tough day. And this was a really fun interview. So thanks for coming on.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
I love you.
You're going to push.
I love you so much. I'm just going to push her out of the frame. I don't say I love you to all of our guests, so don't hashtag me to me. Anyway. All right. Yeah, that's it for this main event. And there you have it, folks. Our interview with my beautiful wife, Madelyn Sifuentes. I want to thank her again for coming on the show. In fact, hold on. Hey, Madelyn. Thanks for coming on the show. I just thanked her again for coming on the show, for taking time out of her schedule to talk to us. But no, Travis, what do you think? I was thinking, this is the only time that this could possibly be applicable. But since it was my wife in the interview and we said goodbye to her at the end of the interview, I think this is appropriate.
Affect the final. How did she? Oh, I see what she did. That is good. Wow. That Carol is one smart cookie.
Goodbye, my lover. Goodbye, my friend.
Oh yeah, it's the only time I could ever use.
If you weren't watching on video, you have no idea what just happened. But
no, we threw to an Office reference.
Yeah. And that's kind of an inside joke between us. But it's Michael Scott, just after his breakup with the realtor, what's her name? I can't remember.
It's not
Jan. He only had.
I don't know.
She was the ice skating girl, and she was a realtor, and she wasn't in that long, but.
No, she wasn't.
He took it hard. He took that breakup hard.
Definitely did. It wasn't. I think it was another J name. I don't know. But yeah. Anyway, it was a long way to go for an Office reference, but I went. It was. But anyway, what did you think of the interview, and what were your favorite parts that are nuggets that Madelyn shared?
I mean, I think I gave it away in the interview. I'm just so happy that she. It's so sad that she lost her store and all that, but I think just kind of that phoenix rising from the ashes kind of story is just so inspiring. Yeah. And the fact that she's like, okay, this time I'm going to do it the right way. And she kind of took all the lessons that she had learned and, took all the different influences she had, from Brittany Lewis, from me, from you, from, all these different people. And she said, I'm going to do it the right way. And she got organized. She got a strategy. She's using E-Rank now. I mean, she's doing it the right way. And she's creating an asset that's going to benefit you and her for years to come, because Etsy ain't going away. and she has, and the cool thing about it is, and I alluded to this too, is like, if someday, maybe, you and Jason to say, hey, we're going to sell the business or whatever, we're going to get out of producing.
Right.
She has all of her data and she can go to someone else and say, okay, I need you to now do this. And it's very easily set up and easily transferred. And so she's doing it the right way. And I'm just really proud of her and proud of you guys, just taking that on. And I know it's 90% her and 10% you, but still it's still both of you guys.
That's very true.
So I'm pretty stoked about the fact that she's doing it the right way.
Yeah, absolutely. I like I alluded to in the intro, I'm just really proud that she came on the show and shared. We had a lot of conversations offline, which is something I think, like we've talked about, everyone struggles with the imposter syndrome, but the main reason that I would ask her, when I would ask her to be on the show, the reason she would say no is I have nothing to offer. Like, I don't know what you guys expect me to say that someone else couldn't say, but I don't have anything to really, I don't have value to add. And so to have her kind of, sit down and share, and hopefully even for her, it was kind of a experience where she realizes that, no, you do have a lot of value and insight to add, and that everyone's journey is different and unique. And there's a lot of people that are out there that maybe have lost an Etsy shop or maybe haven't even gotten into Etsy, but now they know what to look out for. So I was really proud of her for just sharing her story like that, because it's really the first time on any kind of platform like this that she's done that. So I thought it was really awesome.
Yeah, that's really cool. I mean, we've talked about this before. Our wives are very similar in like kind of their personality, and my wife's very much the same way. She's always like, well, I don't have anything to offer, but yet she has a ton to offer. And anybody that knows my wife knows how much she has to offer, but she's had to kind of battle through that. And it's really cool to see Madelyn, stepping into that place of like, okay, fine, I'll trust you, Josiah, that I do have something to share. And I think everybody that listened to this podcast is going to agree with us that was really good, man. She encouraged us. She gave us some good tips. And she just did a great job. So I was really, really happy that she came on the show. That was awesome.
Me too. I'm very, very happy that she stepped out and did that. And I'm sure in a year from now, we can get her back on here to kind of recap. Just kind of space out the invites, so she's not like, I was just there 7 months ago. But no, I'm sure she'll be glad to come back on. And eventually we will get her dad, my father-in-law, on the show as well to kind of share his story. I feel like that one would be fun to do, kind of like fireside vibe kind of thing where we just kind of chat, But I'll talk to him, and when he's not in the throes of Q4, and ask him when he has time to do that. Because at this point he'll be like, I don't have time to breathe. So thank you guys so much for listening. Again, thank Madelyn. Thank you, Madelyn, for coming on the show and sharing your knowledge and experience. If you guys have any questions for her or for Travis or for myself, printondemandcast.com/Facebook is where you can go to join the conversation, join the group, join the family, and ask those questions as well. So as always, wherever there are podcasts available, the PODcast is there for your listening pleasure. I'm talking Apple, Stitcher, Spotify, Google, Anchor, however many other ones are out there. But if you happen to be listening on Apple Podcast, the Apple Podcast app, to my knowledge, that's the only one that allows you to actually leave a review. So we would greatly appreciate it if you guys left a review, 5 stars, of course, and then a comment if you'd like. Let us know what you're liking about the show, feedback, your favorite dad joke we've said, whatever it is, let us know, because it helps the algorithm and helps us get in front of the eyes of the people that need this information. In fact, actually, I told someone, I got to find it real quick, and this is an aside, and I just remembered as I'm rattling through the outro that I usually rattle through. Crystal Nunn is a member of our Facebook group, and she posted in our group very recently. Spotify's been doing the Spotify Wrapped thing recently, and telling you all of the things you listen to and how much you listen to it and all that kind of stuff. So I wanted to go through, because she posted to our profile, and she said that Print on Demand Cast was her top podcast. She listened to 1,056 minutes of this show, which is incredible. She's not the only one to have posted that. In either Lindsay Harrington as well listened to 2,410 minutes of this show in 2021, and we posted 2,556 minutes. So Lindsay must have skipped an episode or two. That's it, is the thing, which is absolutely just bonkers crazy. So I want to thank Crystal and Lindsay so much for your dedication, for your loyalty, for listening each and every week. That's really cool. Totally. I never thought that I would see something that I was a part of be mentioned in a Spotify rap, anything like that. I mean, it's really, really crazy and kind of surreal. But thank you guys so much for your support. Not just them, but of course, everybody as well. So as I try not to choke, I'm verklempt. I'm very, very emotional. But thank you guys. We're going to do everything we can going into this new year to bring you 2,556 more minutes of listening pleasure audio on the Print on Demand Cast. But until then, we'll see you right here next week. For Travis, I'm Josiah. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you again right here on the Print on Demand Cast.
See ya.
Hey, babe. Thanks for listening to this week's episode of the Print on Demand Cast. We hope you enjoyed the Totally Tubular Show. If you got a question or a suggestion for the show, send Travis and Josiah an email at info@printondemandcast.com. Want to be wicked nice? Take a minute to rate and review the show on iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts. And don't forget to subscribe now so you don't miss next week's episode. See you next time, for sure.